I was rooting through the shelf and I found this turbo. This is the one that's off of the H1C non-wastegated, and I can see an 18 here. This is a wastegated one that was off of a 5.9, but a later model, and I see a 16 there. So this housing is, this exhaust housing is smaller, even though the turbine sizes are the same. So I'm going to put my cartridge in this housing. The wastegate is blocked so that it's full boost. If it does work with more boost, then I'll get the wastegate working again. I'm going to try and throw this one on the truck and see what the boost does at the lower RPMs then. The smaller the housing, the faster the exhaust got to go through. So I'm going to see if that gives me any more boost. Here we go. So here we are, the last video of the Tahoe, and I want to thank everybody for watching, and I want to thank everybody for their input, especially the guys on 4btswaps.com, and I got a Cummins for all their input, especially with the turbos. I got an HE221W coming in the mail in the next couple weeks. When I get farther and I know my better miles per gallon, then I'll make another video in another month or two to give you an update, see how we're doing. But for now, this is it. I just want to talk about why I did what I did. I did it because I've got about $7,000 into this vehicle now. Bought it for $1,600 with a blown engine. I bought two 4BTs out of Chicago with two NV 4500s behind it, and was able to sell the two transmissions and the one engine and almost pay for the 4BT. So it still needs a few odds and ends. It needs the air conditioning topped up. I need an alignment. I need to balance my tires. But it rides beautiful. I love it. I've put 4,000 K on it now in the last month and a half or so. I delivered a bunch of playground equipment to various places, pulling an 18-foot trailer with a lot of heavy industrial playground equipment that caught a lot of wind. I was really happy with how it worked out, but it's hard to figure out the mileage because I'm pulling the trailer. So when I do an empty run up to the cottage and around town, I'll have a better idea what's going on, plus the HE221. But I figure somewhere around now I'm high 20 miles per gallon on an 80-liter tank. I've gotten, I think it was 800K or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. The tires are off a bit too because speedo's still a bit off because I put the bigger size tires on. I did this because I'm able to save fuel. That's the number one thing. I'm spending about $12,000 a year on fuel, and I want to cut that down to about half. That's $6,000 every year. And generally, in the last 5 to 10 years, I've been driving only about 25,000 K a year, but with Deboss, I'm doing a lot of trips to Toronto back and forth. I can put the family in here, I can pull a trailer, and there's a substantial savings. Now, I'm hoping to get a biodiesel processor going, so I'm able to, we can live right beside a golf course, and we're able to get that oil. And there's a couple fry trucks down the road, and we should be able to get their oil as well. And I should be able to make biodiesel for about 40 cents a liter, I'm hoping. The most expensive part of making biodiesel is getting the oil, and we have to get it up to 55 degrees Celsius and keep it there when we mix our methanol and KOH in there. So I built a little greenhouse, and I'm hoping that if I do it in the afternoon sometime, I should be able to get it up to 40, 45 degrees in the greenhouse, no problem. And then just use a little bit of hydro to top up that temperature and get some cheap biodiesel. So I'm going to make a video about that too when I'm up and going, but that'll be a while yet. I should be able to do that for about 40 cents a liter. Compared to the $1.10, $1.20 that I'm paying at the pumps right now, that should be a substantial savings. I love the 4BT. I put in a Tahoe on purpose because I let my wife drive one. She's 5'2", I'm 6'2". I let her drive it, and she was comfortable enough with the seat all the way up and the pedals forward. And the way the mechanism works, I'm able to still use a cable on that assembly and still have the adjustable pedals working. I've got 7-way power lumbar seats that are super comfortable. This is a 2004. They started making this model in the end of 2000, halfway through 2000, and they quit it in 2007. So what they do is they run the particular body styles for about 5 to 7 years at a time because that's how long it takes the dies to wear. By 2004, they've had the new 5.3 and the 4.8 transmission emissions, they generally change them around the same time. This last time, GM didn't. They still have the same powertrain with a whole new body style. But anyway, by 2004, they figured out all the kinks out of a new model. Now there's new little problems, whether they use an inferior ball joint or an inferior tie rod end. They've got all that figured out by the time it's 2004. By the time you get 2007, when the last year was this body style, the dies are wore, so the body lines are hard to line up. The doors don't close nice. You've got wind noise coming through. I've got three climate zones in here, one for the kids in the back, one for my wife, one for me. Very easy to do. I just put that T-pipe off to the side, and so far it's been working really good. So the front still gets priority because the water flow comes straight out, but then you still get when I block mine off slightly, then it's diverted and it goes to the back. So that's awesome for the kids. I can still flip the seats forward. I've had 2x4s in here. I've already been pouring some concrete for a buddy of mine, but it is meant for the family, and it's amazing on fuel. I love the way it sounds. With the 4BT, I still use the stock exhaust. The Z71s use a stainless steel exhaust, so this should last. Only my welds coming around the corner will rust away first. We'll see how long that takes. I also picked this vehicle because it's the same base as the Avalanche, the Yukons, the half-ton trucks. So there's a pile of aftermarket companies that are able to give you cheaper brakes, steering, transmission lines. All that stuff is easy to get. Plus, it's so universal. I was able to put the 3/4 ton front end on this truck with only slight modifications that I'd have trouble doing with a Ford because they use so many different variations of stuff. It's hard to mix and match. But I can make my own vehicle with a donor truck that I found in a scrapyard and have a uniquely one-off truck. And I like being a little bit different. So there's a few Tahoes out there, and thanks for Mr. 4BT for chipping in and sharing what happened with him and his training problems and that. And hopefully I'm able to learn from that. But I love GM because they're easy to work on. And I've done a couple now, so I've been able to figure it out nice and quick and easy. But even just to get all the gauges working and that, they're so simple to work on. Underneath the engine is nice and clean, so it's not a big mess of vacuum hoses and lines and whatever else for emissions. So I'm extremely happy with this Tahoe. I hope to hold it for a long time. Now the emission stuff, you do have to be careful if you want to do your own swap. Emissions are getting harder and harder to get around. In Ontario here, they were about to ex-nay the whole emissions thing. The last government came in and they still kept it going. So now it's the OBD2 test, which is difficult to pass, but I'm going to see about turning the monitors off yet. We still have to do the EFI Live, so I can get rid of this reduced engine power, and then I'm able to turn the monitors off and see if I can get a not ready pass. So if you're in Southern Ontario, you have to have a clean pass for change of ownership, but not if you're up north. So this vehicle is actually registered under Deboss, and our head of office is actually north of where the emissions stop. So we were able to get away without having to do an emission test on this one. But really look into that beforehand and make sure that if you do this swap that you're able to do it legally, and that the emissions aren't going to get in your way. Now there's no cops yet to pull you over and say we're going to do an e-test on you, and so even if I did it around a sneaky way, because there are ways to get around it. I'm not going to tell you how, but you can use your imagination, but it's not right. So if you get caught, you're on your own. Yeah, so far so good. I've got 4,000 K on it now since I put it on the road, and no breakdowns at all. I had a cooler leak on the front there. That was an issue. I hate those plug-in training lines with a little clip that holds it in. It seems to be a one-time use, so I made my own fittings at the end there, but you want to invest in a good training cooler. We're looking forward to the next project. We're going to put a 5.9 Cummins in an 84 Dodge 1-ton long box dually crew cab, which used to be a 318 gas with a automatic transmission 2-wheel drive. We're also making it 4-wheel drive, and we're also putting a standard transmission in there. So that should be a neat project, and I know the customer's excited about getting that going. personally, I like these conversions in the newer vehicles better. It's quiet, it's insulated, there's padding in the door to keep it quiet, it rides like a dream. Like I said, 7-way power, adjustable seats. Now, Dodges already came with Cummins, so to convert a Cummins into a Dodge, I don't, it's neat, but I wouldn't do it. It's still an old, rickety, loud rumble box that shakes and rattles and whatever, but I might be surprised too, and I might love the truck too, and maybe do an old conversion like that myself. But we'll see. So thanks again for watching, and hope to get more input from you guys and what you guys like, what you didn't. But for now, this is my 4VT Chummins. So follow a variety of projects that include conversions and repairs to anything from Ferraris to chainsaws. And check out the Deboss, my newest invention that's coming to market. And remember, if you're not filthy, you're not rich.